I went from crying myself to sleep, asking God, why me? To completely transforming my life in ways I can only imagine. Today, we're diving into the ultimate glow up guide, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's all about transforming into the best version of yourself by learning from the past, being grateful for the present, and living in the future. I'll give you actionable steps to ensure you will succeed in your new glow up. Okay, Lego. The old saying, if you don't know your history, you're destined to repeat it, rings true here, even on an individualistic level. Take a moment to think about the patterns, habits, and mistakes from your past. I know that's easier said than done, right? Because we don't want to think about our past. Or we have a tendency to remember all the good things and have amnesia for some reason, especially after something traumatic like a breakup, especially the little part of us that didn't want the breakup to happen in the first place. But we ultimately knew that the relationship was not sustainable. For example, I've had 2 devastating breakups back to back, all while moving halfway across the country by myself. I could have let the sadness and frustration kill me, or I could reflect on the things that I can control, which is myself. And I could figure out a way out of the funk.
Shadow work is not optional. I know all the mistresses of Loki and Lucifer are going to tell y'all otherwise, but that's because they operate out of privilege and not out of power. Shadow work is the process of growing awareness of self and building understanding behind that. The actions that we take thereafter is the actual healing. Shadow work is not just about dissecting the perceivable bad. Sometimes it's learning why we have shame behind things that are actually good. My triggers, my toxic ideologies, my desires, my goals, my shame, my guilt, my resentment, my intrigue. What the am I even angry about? I have to dissect everything. How is that influencing me internally, and how is that making me influence my external? And am I okay with that shit? And if not, how would I give that advice if I were giving it to a friend? It's only easier to give your friends advice because you're holding them accountable for their problem. When you're dealing with your own problem, you get to treat it like a secret. So that means you get to off with it because you're the only person that knows you have a problem in the first place. So sometimes stepping back and pretending that it's somebody else's problem allows us to bypass that I don't know how to fix that mode in our brain. Oh, we got a solution, we just struggle to implement. And those are 2 separate things. You're overcomplicating shadow work because nobody's ever told you that the definition of what shadow work is, which I'm going to go over, is also the description on how to do it. The what is the how. Let's talk about part 2 as to why shadow work is not optional. Shadow work is not the solution. It is the awareness of a problem. As long as the sun shines, your is going to have a shadow. Now, obviously, the quality of the questions is going to affect the way in which we heal. So instead of saying, what makes me sad, we should ask ourselves, what emotions am I actively avoiding and why? You can always Google or research self-reflective questions to start your shadow work, but introspection alone is not going to help you revise your identity. Some of the most stubborn people to change are self-aware. Shadow work is discipline, showing up for yourself when it's hard and when it's easy. It's a commitment to correcting your external environment. That way it's in alignment with your internal conclusion. But shadow work is also reevaluating the resources we may not be utilizing, probably out of pride. A lot of people don't want to seem like they don't have their shit together, but you don't. So why are we pretending? It's just perpetuating the problem. Shadow work is restructuring our friend group. Just because we want this person to be there for us doesn't mean that they have the capacity. But when we start complaining that they don't care, well, that's not true. They just don't know how to show up for you. It doesn't make them a bad person. It makes them the wrong person, which means you need a new resource. Sometimes it's sitting in the present emotions of an experience that you've never had the opportunity or the control to be able to choose. Something as big and small as me leaving the church and being able to have my Sundays to myself and not having to dedicate my time to an entity that I didn't believe in, but finally somebody that I did, me.
Shadow work is mandatory for evolution because it strips you of your ego and it forces you to look at yourself in the mirror. And you have to look at yourself in the mirror objectively and say, okay, where can I be better to achieve my goals and aspirations? In this blog where I document my journey in healing, I start to identify how I feel instead of trying to just get over my feelings. I allowed myself to go through it with actionable steps that led to me being a more emotionally and mental healthy person. My personality was already broken down by loss and trauma and toxicity, so the only thing left to do was to rebuild. I spent a lot of time alone. I had several conversations with myself, and I rediscovered who I really wanted to be, because who I was incapable of achieving my dreams. I can wish upon a star for as long as I like, but if I do not become another person, I can never live the life I dreamed of since I was a little girl. So how do I rebuild? Slowly and in detail. I started journaling. I intended to do it daily, but I realized doing it whenever I remembered was more effective, because I thought about journaling after something significant happens, like a significant shift in my thinking. So whenever I had an idea or whenever I was feeling uncertain, I started journaling. So it gave my journaling meaning. Otherwise, I don't think I could complete it. So try to make at least 17 journal entries. They say it's a magic number to start a habit. 17 times makes a habit. So if you want to do daily journaling, that's only a little over 2 weeks. That's definitely doable. And if you want to fully make sure you achieve that goal, a good habit would be to make a time frame. For example, the goal is to make 17 journal entries by February 14th. Okay, so here's some journaling prompts for you. What held you back? What lessons have you learned? I created a blog where I live documented my shadow work journaling, my shadow journaling session if you need help with getting started. So what I did was I created a YouTube playlist with videos and that focused on shadow work to help guide me with my journal entries.
We're all gonna die many, many times in our life. We're all gonna die. You just died, right? A piece of you has to die. Right now, you're going through hell. It's been awful. Someone ripped your heart out. That's hell. But I want that version of you that goes through hell and comes out and has something to say at the end of it. That's the version of you I want. Do I want the version of Roy who hasn't been through that shit? Nah, it's fucking boring. That's boring. I don't want that Roy. I want Roy who's been to hell and back. I want Roy who had to go, die, resurrect himself, and then come tell the rest of us how to do that. I want that Roy. That Roy's interesting to me. I want weathered, scarred Roy who's been through shit, who has interesting things to say. That Roy is much more interesting to me. And we learn far more, far more. We become far stronger by what goes wrong in our lives than what goes right. Far more. And so all this you're going through, this is just like, you know, like a great stew. Like it's just adding flavor. It's just making you more and more interesting, more and more complex. It's going to make you more compassionate. It's going to make you kinder. It's going to make you more empathetic to other people. It's going to give you more to bring to your next relationship. It's going to make you such a strong person. And you get through this and you deal with this. What the do you have to be afraid of? I've died, motherfucker. You can't scare me. Right?
It was a whole hoot, okay? Click up there if you'd like to see it. Release what no longer serves you. You can't glow up carrying the weight of your past. Let go of toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, and regrets. Here's another journal entry idea. Or maybe talk to yourself. You know, whatever works best for you. Create a past lessons entry or a list of lessons you've already learned. It's okay if you talk about this more than once, if you said this more than once or twice, but just know eventually whatever burdens that haunt you, you have to let them go. Hey, I know it's easier said than done, but we have to have the strength to mend the past so we can be more grateful for the present and see a bright, shining future for ourselves. Because whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Be grateful for the present. The next thing you must do to achieve the glow up of your life is to shift your mindset to gratitude. You would be shocked to know that you have been the one, yes, you have been the one cursing your life this whole time, saying things like, oh, the dating pool sucks, I'll never find someone to love, or I'll never get a better job, or no one likes me. You're plaguing yourself, okay? Gratitude grounds you in the present and makes you see how far you have come. And as soon as you open your eyes, you know, when you get up out of bed, say 3 things you're grateful for every morning and be very specific. I know some people may struggle and don't know how to be grateful and pray, but this is the start. The best part about this, you don't have to be religious to have gratitude. Okay, so I know I just said pray. So when you're praying to God, God is within. You're praying to yourself. Embrace your current self. You're already glowing in some areas. Acknowledge your current strengths and wins. I like to say the things I'm grateful for right before I eat. I am grateful for this food that is going to nourish my body and give me the energy to complete my tasks for the day. I am grateful to live in a beautiful, safe neighborhood and have this surplus of abundance to pay for my needs.
It's Mel, and I'm willing to bet that you're practicing gratitude all wrong. So most people, when they practice gratitude, they basically will write down a list of a couple things that they're, quote, grateful for. This is how I used to do it. But here's the mistake that you're making. If you simply write down things like, I'm grateful for my health, I'm grateful for my job, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for my pets, that's not actual, genuine, true gratitude. That's a list of things that you're thankful for. Because as soon as you write those things down, you feel a short little burst of appreciation, but that's it. True gratitude has a number of specific elements. First of all, it's got to be super specific. You've got to identify why you appreciate it. You've got to allow yourself to feel this wave of emotion, and then you'll notice that the emotion of it all, it lingers. So instead of writing generic things on the surface that are basically a list of things you're thankful for, write down one thing that's very specific that you are truly, truly grateful for. Right now, in this moment, I'm grateful, Mel, that you can sit here on social media with your bra strap showing and you don't care because you accept yourself exactly as you are. I'm grateful that you've gotten to a point in your life that you can do that, woman. Try it, because genuine gratitude's awesome.
Another thing we can do is practice mindfulness, like meditation or yoga, to stay present. I still struggle with meditation, so it's okay if you can't completely empty your brain and mind the first few times. But once you feel yourself wandering off to what you want to eat for dinner or something like that, just shift your focus back to the meditation. Okay, not sponsored, but sometimes I take supplements for my focus. They're like from Whole Foods or something, and they help with my focus during the day because I will literally wander off for 45 minutes and hyperfixate on doing something completely useless, like trying to pick a song on my Instagram story and stuff like that. I know it seems weird and funny, but fake it till you make it really rings true here. Have the confidence, discipline, and diligence to be grateful.
I get to go grocery shopping and pick out any food that I feel like eating. I have a car that I get to drive wherever I feel like driving. My body is healthy and I'm able to move my body at the gym. I get to live in a house with big windows facing the sun and I can feel it on my face. I get to wash the dishes. I have dishes that I'm able to use. I get to sleep in a comfy bed in a safe, warm house.
If someone asks you, "How are you?" you say, "I'm great." And you? Even if you're not, because temporary bad mood or a day is not a bad life. And you are always emitting energies even when we briefly talk to people. And when we express our gratitude and our joy for life, it becomes contagious. And then we attract our soul tribe.
Have you ever thought to yourself, damn, I'm talking and people still don't get me? Well, I was sitting in meditation and Spirit told me, the reason why people aren't getting you is because I didn't give them the ears to align with what you're talking about. And that took me back a little bit because I was like, no wonder I keep saying the same thing and nobody's understanding. He said, yeah, because these are not the people that I wanted you aligned with. All right, bye.
I don't know if anyone has a lot of friends, but moving halfway across the country by myself with no immediate friends or family made it difficult for me to make friends. And I'm not sure why that is and why it's so difficult to make friends. But when you're authentic and true to yourself and you embrace your soul in its whole entirety, the good, the bad, the ugly, you will attract people who get you and who understand you. And they won't plan on your downfall, okay? So program yourself to accept the fact that you deserve better. You deserve better quality experiences, and the world you create just comes to you instantly. The love is coming, the warmth is coming, the celebration is also coming. So that brings us to our last point. Visualize the person you want to become and start acting like that person. Imagine your dream life and ask yourself, what would future me do? Does she like to eat? Does she like to travel? Where does she like to travel? Does she have children? A spouse? Where does she go to the gym? Okay, for example, I look 10 years out because I don't think 5 years is impactful enough. So when I met with a decision, I stopped to think, what would 43-year-old me do? What would future me wear? What would future me say to this question? Or how would future me respond? With that being said, it is now time to set goals that align with your new identity. You can break it down by setting small, achievable goals and milestones that lead to your bigger goals. So set habits that will help you achieve your goal. If you want to get up earlier and you have a bad habit of hitting snooze 5 times before you actually get up out of bed, this is what you should do, okay? You should put your phone all the way across the room, or better yet, in another room entirely. That way, when you have the opportunity to get up, automatically the first time, and from there, you have to make a choice. Am I going to go back in bed? Or am I going to go about my day? And then you have to ask yourself, what would future me do? Future me would probably get ready for the day because she knows the value of time. Another example would be, if you want to be more confident, wear clothes that make you feel confident. Do your makeup and your hair every day. even if you're just running errands and it's just mascara and lip gloss. You know why? Because, oh, and you should throw on a pair of stud earrings while you're at it, all right? You should do this because when you look good, you feel good, and that elevates your mood. And your elevated mood will be felt by other people, and you will be able to create your own radiance.
Girl, do you realize the only thing that's slowing you down is the fact that you don't realize you're that bitch? Say whatever you want about Kanye West, but he was right on the money when he said that people are slowed down by their perceptions of themselves. Those who think they can and those who think they can't are both right. And being that bitch is not about looking pretty. It's not about having clear skin. It's not about dressing well. It's not about being successful. It's not about being rich. It's not about any of those things. It's about having that inner knowing, that inner belief, that inner energy, that inner je ne sais quoi that lets you know that irrespective of what is happening around you, irrespective of how many odds are against you, the people that are against you, you're gonna make it no matter what. It's also about knowing that your intrinsic worth and your value is not determined by the things around you, and that your success and your blessings is just a byproduct of how amazing you are and not the other way around. This whole external world, babe, it's just an internal game. That's the biggest lie. The biggest lie we've ever been told is that we have to wait for the external world to change in order for us to feel happy and satisfied with ourselves. Nuh-uh, it's the other way around.
If you're still struggling with confidence, I have a video on that if you'd like to watch it, but I'm gonna spill the ending for you. Your future self is already confident. The most important part of this entire glow up is acting like the future version of yourself. Make decisions and habits today that your future self would thank you for. To help you visualize what you're going for, create a vision board or digital aesthetic that represents your future self. All right, I know a physical vision board is something that people do at the beginning of the year. Yeah, that's cool and everything, but how many people actually go back and look at it? Unless it's hung up or plastered somewhere, we forget about it by like January 4th.
I have a theory that the way to make your vision board more effective so your manifestations actually come in way faster comes down to the type of photos that you are using. It is a very easy switch and you will never look at your vision board the same, so let's get into it. First, it's important for you to know that the brain manifests through mental rehearsal, meaning that the more you visualize, the more you'll get results because the brain can't tell the difference between a real and an imagined experience. But our goal here is to make that imagined experience so real and so convincing that it builds out a good thick neural pathway in the brain where it really believes this is your life, this is who you are, this is what happens to you. The more your brain believes it, the more you attract it. So imagine, for example, that you want to manifest your first time ever going on a yacht. You find a really cute picture to put on your vision board, like this one. But hold on, question for you. If you were actually on this yacht, is this what you would be seeing through your eyes? Or would it be something more like this? Your actual view at the dinner table looking at the sunset. Which one of those do you actually think is a mental rehearsal of the actual experience? We have a tendency to cover our vision boards with pictures of things, not of our experiences of them. Pinterest is an amazing place for this. You can also screenshot people's TikToks, Instagrams, etc. I know this is gonna help, so I'll let you get to it.
If you're gonna do a physical vision board, put it somewhere that you can see it every single day. If you're going for a digital vision board, make the vision board your screensaver. That way, every time you pick up your phone, you see your future as you carve the life you want in the process. Not only is this a huge motivator, but it reassures the universe that it's yours. While you look at your vision board, envision scenes and scenarios where your dreams come true. If your dream is becoming a successful real estate agent, imagine yourself having big commission checks, okay? Touring expensive homes, all right? And you're living your best life. Put your dream car on the vision board, but also imagine yourself driving that car. Don't envision yourself driving the car that you have now. But of course, be grateful for what you have by acknowledging your blessings, like we mentioned before, with the being grateful for the present and all that. But look forward to more as well so you can keep the upward trajectory of success.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. In order for you to get anywhere, you have to become obsessed with yourself, and even down to your mistakes and the things that you've done wrong in this life. You have to start seeing yourself the way that God sees you, as something that is worthy of love no matter what you do. And you have to start cheering yourself on like how you know God is cheering you on, and become so obsessed with yourself. Because what else are you going to be obsessed with, babe? You're going to be obsessed with what other people think of you? And that's exactly what they want you to feel. They want you to just be so tapped into everybody else's bullshit that you forget about your own potential. Wake up! It's time for you to become obsessed with yourself.
Yeah. So in conclusion, learn from the past, be grateful for the present, and live in the future, and watch your life completely transform right in front of your eyes. Okay, so you know what? Comment below one thing you're letting go of from your past. And remember, you have the power to create the identity you dream of. It's time to step into it. All right, that's all I got, you guys. Bye-bye.